In a small, picturesque town nestled between rolling hills and a winding river, love blossomed between Sarah and David. They met in their early 20s, full of hope and dreams, and quickly became inseparable. Sarah, a vibrant and passionate woman with an infectious laugh, complemented David's quiet strength and steadfast loyalty. Their love seemed unbreakable, and soon after, they married in a quaint ceremony under the shade of an old oak tree. For the first few years, their life was idyllic. David worked as a carpenter, his hands crafting furniture that seemed to carry a piece of his soul. Sarah, an artist, painted vivid landscapes inspired by their small town and the love they shared. They often spent evenings together on their porch, watching the sunset, dreaming of the future, and promising to grow old together. But as the years went by, the glow of their love began to dim. David buried himself in work, determined to provide for their future, while Sarah grew restless. She began to feel trapped in their small town life, yearning for excitement and passion that seemed to have faded from their marriage. One day, Sarah met a man named Ethan at an art exhibition in the city. Ethan was everything David wasn't: charming, adventurous, and thrillingly unpredictable. He spoke of faraway places and wild dreams, igniting a spark in Sarah that she hadn't felt in years. They began meeting in secret, and before long, Sarah found herself falling for him. Torn between loyalty and desire, Sarah made a decision that would shatter her life. She left David. The day she packed her bags and walked out of their home was the hardest and most heartbreaking of her life. David didn't beg her to stay. He simply looked at her with eyes full of pain and whispered, "I hope you find what you're looking for." Sarah moved to the city with Ethan, diving headfirst into a whirlwind romance. At first, it was everything she had dreamed of: spontaneous trips, late-night conversations, and a life full of passion. But as time passed, cracks began to appear. Ethan's charm faded, replaced by a selfishness that Sarah hadn't noticed before. He was unreliable, his promises often empty, and his love felt fleeting compared to the unwavering devotion David had shown her. The city that had once felt so alive now felt cold and lonely. Sarah found herself longing for the quiet comfort of her old life: the laughter on the porch, the smell of sawdust on David's clothes, and the way he always held her hand as if he'd never let go. One day, Sarah returned to the town she once called home. As she walked through its familiar streets, memories flooded back, each one a reminder of the life she had left behind. She stopped in front of their old house, her heart aching as she saw the garden David had planted still blooming with life. David was sitting on the porch, carving a small wooden bird. When he saw Sarah, he froze. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, Sarah, tears streaming down her face, whispered, "I made a mistake." David looked at her, his face a mixture of sadness and compassion. "I loved you, Sarah," he said softly, "and I would have done anything to make you happy. But love isn't enough if one of us is always looking for something else." Sarah pleaded for a second chance, her voice breaking as she apologized for the pain she had caused. But David, though kind, had learned to protect his heart. "I forgave you a long time ago," he said, "but I've also learned to let go." Sarah left that day with a heart heavy with regret, realizing that in her search for passion and excitement, she had lost the one thing that truly mattered: unconditional love. She spent the rest of her days painting, her art filled with longing and sorrow, each piece a silent apology to the man she had once called her forever. And David, though his heart bore scars, eventually found peace. He remained in the little house they had built together, his memories a bittersweet reminder of a love that once was. Moral of the story: true love is built on loyalty, understanding, and commitment, not fleeting passion or temporary excitement. Often, the grass may seem greener on the other side, but it is only when we lose something precious that we realize its true value. Cherish and nurture what you have before it's too late, because some choices cannot be undone, and regret can be a heavy burden to carry.